Hello, everybody, and welcome to yet another eMarketeer Academy webinar this morning. I am thrilled to see so many people here today, and I look forward to inspiring you how to work with eMarketeer when it comes to nurturing your leads. That is, taking your leads through different steps that makes them more interested in your products and services, and as importantly, hands them over to sales when it's relevant for your salespeople to get in touch with these leads. So that's what we're going to cover today, of course. So thank you for being here. I hope you're seeing my slides, hearing my voice, and maybe even seeing this old mug. Today, as mentioned, we're going to talk about lead management with eMarketeer. So you may be brand new to eMarketeer and not knowing what eMarketeer is all about. Don't worry too much about that. We won't go into too many specifics or details. This is more to get an inspiration on how you could work with the tool like eMarketeer. If you're already familiar with eMarketeer, hopefully this can inspire you on how to organize your campaigns and maybe get away from doing manual tasks into doing more automated tasks with eMarketeer. My name is Klaus. I'm a product evangelist here at eMarketeer, which means that I am my job is here to inspire you how to use eMarketeer, get ideas about how to improve your processes, work smarter with your tools instead of working harder, getting rid of manual tasks, and seeing how your different teams, be marketing, sales, account managers, maybe even HR, can work together and share information in a more real-time, automated fashion instead of doing things that are repetitive and manual with your marketing tools. We're going to be approximately 45 minutes on the webinar, depending on how many questions you guys have. I do encourage you to ask me questions throughout the webinar. I will do my best to keep an eye on the questions box, pick up some of the questions during the webinar, and certainly at the question and answer session at the end, make sure to get feedback and answers back to you guys. So it may be something that has to do specifically with the stuff that we go through, or just some general considerations or questions, curiosities you may have about eMarketeer or the stuff that we're going through. Please do send them my way. If there are questions that are either too technical or specific or that I don't have time for, I will make sure to follow up with you directly after the webinar. So rest assured that questions box is for you, and I hope that you're going to use it throughout the webinar, keeping me on my toes instead of this just being a monologue. We are going to record this session today, so you will get the slides and the recording. So if you feel like some of your colleagues might enjoy some of this or benefit from some of this, please go ahead and please do go ahead and share that once you get that recording and the slides a couple of hours after the webinar when everything is ready. The objectives, as mentioned, are to first of all have a look at some of the stuff that you need to consider and think about when you start doing nurturing. And by nurturing, I mean automating your email campaigns, automating your information flows to your recipients, because it's quite different from your blast and forget kind of email newsletter scenario that many of us may still be in. When you automate stuff, you're able to really listen to what people are doing and respond with relevant content to their interests and their behavior, and that differentiates it quite substantially from the fire and forget kind of thing that we do with our newsletters typically. So let's just dwell a little bit on that in the beginning, and then obviously look at how a lead management flow can be built in eMarketeer, how it looks from your end of the game, how it looks for your salespeople that get information about leads, and how it looks for your recipients. And also we're going to look at some of the new reporting capabilities we have in eMarketeer on how to report on your lead management and lead nurturing initiatives and campaigns in eMarketeer. All right, so that is going to be what we'll be covering today. There are already questions coming in. That's great. Just fire them my way, and I will make sure to pick them up during the webinar. Catherine is asking about the recording. It will be made available after the webinar. I will shoot an email out to all of you with links to the recording so you can get that. So don't worry about that. All right, so just a few words about eMarketeer. We were founded in 2002 as a cloud-based marketing automation platform. So that was kind of before those terms were even coined. But so we've been around the block a few times and have lots of clients in many different industries and many different sectors, both business to business and business to consumer. So we have a lot of experience in not only implementing, but also advising and helping you get most out of our platform. As mentioned, many different industries and niches, all the way from small startups to large multinational companies that are using us across many different countries and regions. So we're quite thrilled to be advanced and powerful enough for the really big organizations, but also easy and intuitive enough for the smaller teams, so that they can make do with one tool for many of their marketing projects. And that's really what this is all about. This is our product or design philosophy, if you will. And certainly for me as a user and a product evangelist here, this is what really excites me, is having everything in one toolbox, right? So eMarketeer, you've got all of these different components, all of these things you're seeing on screen now, which means that they're all on the same platform. They're all reporting in the same way. The data is stored in the same place. It's all GDPR compliant across your many different channels and components. So if you're able to work with your email marketing, so for instance, your newsletters in eMarketeer, you can do all of the rest because it's the same system that you're working in. So let's say you wanted to manage your events or build a landing page or maybe do a mobile app. You can do so as well using the exact same tool as you use for your newsletters. So that is really one of the key elements of using eMarketeer and why we think it's quite powerful for the marketing teams. So apart from executing your campaigns, meaning sending them out and designing them and making them available to your target group, measuring what you're doing is obviously essential. So having reports, dashboards, KPI counters in your marketing tool across your channels, it makes it easier for you to figure out what's working, what's not working, where am I doing great, where do I need to improve, and have those at a glance available for you. So that's basically the entire platform in a slide. The idea here is obviously that for your customers and leads to have a great experience with your brand across your channels, you need to have a uniform, homogeneous brand experience. So your URLs are the same, your images, your styles, everything that they see is according to your brand, your look and feel. So you really own that user or customer experience across your different marketing channels. And then, for you, as mentioned, to be able to work in one tool is obviously hugely beneficial. And your sales team are going to enjoy this as well, because you'll be able to hand them information real time when things that are interesting are happening. So not, giving them an Excel sheet at some point after an event or after a campaign. These are all of the potential leads. No, right when your leads and customers are showing that key behavior that is a conversion for you guys, you can hand them over to sales right then and there. So that is really that's really powerful there as well. Okay, so let's move on to how we need to consider lead nurturing and automating your marketing flows and your communications compared to sending out a newsletter whenever you're ready. There are really 4 things to keep in mind here that are important. The first one is, when you do your lead nurturing, you really need to focus on the customer experience of your recipient, right? They are the ones getting information from you. They've signed up for your newsletters or your webinars or your ebooks or whatever it is that's kickstarted this flow of information to them. And you really want to make sure that you think about their situation when they're receiving the information. Now, again, this is not a loose newsletter where you can send everything about your company and everything that happens to your board and your markets and whatnot and send it to them. That's not relevant to them. Figure out what are their key interests, how do they differentiate in this group compared to that group, and make sure that you target your messages to them. In that way, you'll be able to send them more frequent information and still not be perceived as spammy because you're relevant, right? So as long as you keep sending relevant content to your target groups and your niches, you'll do great with your lead nurturing. Next thing is, try to personalize everything. And here I'm not only talking about the high first name part of your email or your subject lines, but really personalize the experience across the different touch points here. Think about how you can make a piece of content relevant to your recipient based on what they've told you with their behavior, right? So if they click on product A in your campaign, make sure you follow up with more information focusing on that product instead of again sending everything to everybody. So try to personalize the journey that they're on as best you can, but still keeping it general enough so you can automate. So there's a balance to strike there. It's about being able to take your content, break it into different parts. So maybe you have some larger content pieces that you want to break apart into smaller pieces and smaller campaigns, so you can deliver the right content at the right time to the right people instead of sending everything to everybody. All right. So the third option here, or the third point I want to make, is if you want to do this and you want to do it at scale, you need some kind of automation tools to help you out. Your email tool, your Excel list, your Outlook won't, talk to one another and help you out automating this. So you need some kind of way to organize this in an automated way. That means that you'll be doing less manual work. You'll be relying less on a patchwork of tools and Excel to an email ping pongs back and forth. You will need one tool where you can orchestrate this. I know no tool is a silver bullet. No tool yet will write the content for you automatically, but you do need to have your ambitions set in a way where you can automate this with an easy-to-use tool. In that way, you'll be able to take your contacts, guide them through your funnel, guide them through their customer journey, and delivering the content that you think is relevant to them at the right point in time. And lastly, we need to get rid of our silos, our islands of data, to get a uniform view of what our customers and leads are doing, right? So the silos are in people, the marketing team and the sales team. We need to talk to one another, and we need to figure out what does the sales team need to know when they are handed a lead. What is a lead to a salesperson? What does it take for a lead to be qualified? I'm quite sure that a new newsletter subscriber is not really seen as a lead to your sales folks, but a lead or a person that has read 2 brochures and visited the website, they are probably a qualified lead. So these discussions or debates between sales and marketing about what makes a good lead, what's relevant information, when should we be getting things, those are in parts of tearing down the silos between teams, and certainly tearing down the silos between your systems. So let's say you have an email platform and a survey platform and your website. Now, if these 3 don't talk to one another, you just have islands of data that then you, again, are the steward of getting back and forth between systems to get some kind of overview. So make sure to tear down the silos, because if you have different tools for everything, you've got, an editor for your emails and an editor for your surveys and an editor for your events, and orchestrating this across these different platforms is not that easy, and you end up with integration points, and you end up basically with a lot of frustration for the user, being your job to manage all of this, and for the organization because you don't have an overview or an insight about what customers are doing across your channels. So why is this so important, and why is this challenge increasing all the time? Well, just look at yourself and your own behavior, right? You go across the web, you look at websites, you look at brochures, ebooks, webinars, you look at videos. You really consume a lot of content when you try to make a decision, both professionally and also in your private lives. When you want to buy a product or buy a service, you do a lot of research, and 70 to 80 to 90% of that research, of that interaction or decision-making process, is taking place without you ever talking to a sales rep. So it's incredibly important that, since the customer journey has moved much more into the marketing domain with content marketing, inbound and outbound marketing, gated content on your website, videos, white papers, and all that stuff that we produce in marketing, if we do not let sales know what has been going on, it's very difficult for them to have a qualified dialogue with the leads when they show up ready to talk to a sales rep or an account manager. So for the sales rep or the account manager, it really is all about figuring out what has this person been doing, how can I make my dialogue with him relevant, and rather than selling to him, making him or helping him make a decision is really the mindset that's in place here. So Let's have a look at how this pans out across your different channels. You may be doing different types of marketing, obviously. You do advertising, you do email marketing, you post on social. You do a lot of things to drive traffic to your website or to a campaign or to an event or to a webinar like this. And when people show up, you want to make sure that you can listen to what they're doing, right? What are they clicking? What are they answering? What is their engagement with your marketing content? And as they have that engagement with your content, you listen to what they're doing, because then you can follow up with the right content to the right people at the right time. So instead of sending everything to everybody, you can serialize your content out over time and delivering smaller bits of content to the different target groups. So you're not sending content to fewer people, but you're sending the same content to fewer people, and then you maybe have more lists to distribute to automatically. And obviously, keeping sales in the loop when that's relevant, so that sales at some point are notified, okay, now this person has been going through a journey, and here you can see what the different steps are that that person has been going through in order to arm the salesperson with information to make a good qualified dialogue there with the leads. So if we look at a lead management or a nurture flow for a customer journey, this is just an example. Obviously for you and your company, it will look quite different. But this is just an example. So we have all of the tools available in eMarketeer to do this, starting off with, at the very top of the funnel, the companies that are visiting your website, they can be identified with Lead Explorer in looking at who's visiting your website, how many times have they been there, which pages did they look at, what is their engagement score, and so on. So at the very top of the funnel, even before we know any individuals, we can start figuring out who's been to your website. And then when people convert into known individuals, like when they sign up for something, your newsletter, your webinars, lead ads on Facebook and LinkedIn, we know who they are, right? It might also be a tablet on an event whenever we can start doing physical events again, where you pick up a contact details there. So that is a contact that we can now nurture and at some point hand over to sales as a qualified lead. So right from the get-go, we want to make sure that we update the relevant contact information in eMarketeer, you know, their contact details, their interests, what they've been doing, which kind of lead nurturing process should I be sending them on here, and then automate the information flow out to the people, a welcome email, general information email, and as soon as they start signaling their interest by what they click on, I want to make sure that I can follow through on that interest with more content. So for instance, in this email, I have 2 different products or 2 different messages. And if they click on product B, I want to make sure that I automatically follow up with more focused content on the product or the service or the case or whatever it is that they had an interest on, instead of sending them everything, right? And as they continue this journey and at some point follow a call to action, signing up to something or downloading something, I want to make sure that I can notify sales so that they can get on the ball and try to close the business or the sale with this lead. So now we're going to journey through this this customer journey from the 3 perspectives: you working in eMarketeer, your colleagues in sales, what are we giving to them, and your new lead or your new prospect that's going on this customer journey. So let's have a look at how this all plays out across the different touch points and across your eMarketeer platform. So first off, we have our lead visiting our website. They've browsed around, and at this point, he or she is signing up for a newsletter or a webinar or whatever it is, the gated content that you have on your site. They're now doing a conversion to being a known contact in your database. As you can see, they supply some contact information, as little or as much as you are asking for. GDPR, you know, you get your consent right there. You can get specific interest noted if you want to. It's up to you. This form is built in eMarketeer and made available on your website for integration, so that it really gives a nice uniform experience for the visitor there. Then behind the scenes, you have eMarketeer that captures everything, right? So as the form was built in eMarketeer, the form answers go straight into the platform where it can add more details to the contact that may already be there or that is generated as a brand new contact. So we capture all of the details from the form answers. As you'll remember, he signed up for some specific interests, specific lists, so he's automatically added to the car review and industry news lists. And as mentioned, we also have tabs on the legal basis, the GDPR compliance, which is so important. We have tabs on why do I have consent, what type of consent do I have on the contact here, and if he or she withdraws the consent, that is obviously updated here, and we will no longer be sending to that person. That all happens automatically, which is a huge relief to be able to be GDPR compliant across your different marketing channels. Just by using one tool here. All right, so he signed up for the webinar, for the email series. He gets the welcome email. It's sent automatically. It has Porsche and Chevrolet. He clicks on Porsche and goes on to my website to browse more about Porsche. So that is already the first automation. We capture the information and send automatically our welcome email. At this point, we're not too sure what he's interested in, but now he's clicked on Porsche. That gives me some idea about the next type of content I could be sending it to him. It has to do with Porsche, the brand, or sport to supercars, the niche, and so on. So think about how you can capture information like that and store it on the contacts for future sendouts, both automatically and manual campaigns, if you will, when you're ready with those. So let's look at eMarketeer behind the scenes, what is happening there. Let's look at the contact information that was captured. Here we can automatically update the contact card, in this case, car preferences. We've tick marked Porsche because he clicked on Porsche in my email. I can use that for future segmenting and future sendouts, and it's good information to have when I am doing my future campaigns to this person. Also sorry about that. In my campaign, in eMarketeer, I have everything organized. So I have the sign up form that was on my website. I had the welcome email that was sent out automatically. And then obviously I have some nurture emails. These emails are the ones that are supposed to go out automatically depending on where they click, right? So if they click on Porsche in this email, I want the Porsche nurture email to go out. If they click on Chevrolet, I want the Chevrolet email to go out automatically without me doing anything. And I can set this up and forget it easily. So let's have a look at how the automations are set up. And you can see that automation has been added by this lightning bolt that is symbolized here. Setting up the automation looks somewhat like this for all the automations you can do in eMarketeer. So first off, you tell eMarketeer, I would like you to do this. In my campaign, Avenir Leads, I want you to send the Porsche nurture email 2 days after the recipient of the welcome email clicked a specific link, and in this case, link to Porsche on my website. So that is how complicated, if you will, it is to set up the automations in eMarketeer. When this happens, please do that. And you can have as many automations, so you'll end up with an entire script for everything that's automated in your campaign towards your prospects and customers in that campaign. Okay, so I've told eMarketeer when someone clicks the Porsche link in the welcome email, wait 2 days and send the follow-up email for Porsche. So a couple of days later, the Porsche follow-up email will arrive. Now it's focused completely on the product that I was interested in. It has a brochure. It has a very clear call to action. When I click here, I'm now converting to being a qualified lead to hand over to sales. Now it goes on to look at the brochure and the price list for this product. Now my agreement with sales is this is now a qualified lead. It's good to hand over to you guys for future follow-up. Of course, I can still keep on nurturing him in the eMarketeer platform with more and more content, adding him to the general mails list and still tracking what he's doing. But at this point, it's a key gate that he's going through being a qualified lead now. So let's look at my campaign and look at all of the automations again that are set up, because obviously I could do a lot more with my automations, and you have a nice overview of everything that is automated in eMarketeer. You can look at your automations up here, and down here you can add and view your automations. So let's look at the automations and this chef's cookbook or recipe, if you will, of everything that is automated in the campaign. We already know a couple of them, like the welcome email. When the newsletter sign up is submitted, please send the email, welcome email. That happens automatically. Then we add it to lists. So if they answer the newsletter sign up in a specific way, it could be added to the industry news list or the car reviews list. That happens automatically as well. We had the when a specific link is clicked in the welcome email, it should send the Porsche nurture email with the delay of 2 days. So you see, you have this overview of everything that's set up to happen automatically. And the automations here are not only sending things to the contact, they're also updating the eMarketeer, updating interests, updating lists, and so on, so that your data is top-notch all the time. Now, you see we have something down here called notify sales. And this is when it's time to hand over information to sales. In this case, when a specific link is clicked in the Porsche nurture email, that's the link to the brochure. When the lead goes ahead and clicks that, I want to send a notification to sales. So just let us quickly have a look at that. Here is the notification automation. In this case, I can add one or several email addresses. I may want to add a couple of salespeople or maybe a shared sales inbox that my notification should be going to. I can also add mobile numbers so we can send text messages when this specific thing happens. So I'm telling eMarketeer, please email these guys and these numbers whenever someone in the Porsche email clicks the specific link to the brochure, right? So then they will get the information right away. And what will arrive in the sales inbox is a notification saying, this is sent to you because an event that you subscribe to has occurred, and it shows you the email campaign, who has clicked, and what has happened. So that is the equivalent of knocking on sales doors saying, we have somebody in the shop who's hot and ready to be contacted by you. Now he's opened the brochure. As mentioned, we can also send text messages. They will arrive obviously on the phone. They will have a link to the notification explaining exactly what has happened. So for the salespeople that are out and about, we're also adapting to their mobile lifestyle and being able to tap them on the shoulder when they're out there on the road. So this is really an example of how these things can play together and to be automated, and you have everything neatly in place. Now, you as a marketer, you're focusing on obviously delivering the leads to sales, but also keeping tabs on what's going on with my leads and have the ability to get an overview of how your different campaign components are performing. So let's say I want to have a look at the report for my email send out here. I can click that and see how my email is performing, open rates, click rates. I can see how many people have bounced, complained, opened, not opened, clicked, and so on. So I always have a full drill down of my performance of the different campaign components. I can also check out the different people that have responded to my campaign, and I can drill down into their digital footprint. And let's have a look at this person's contact card and the engagement history for this person. As you can see, it's on the same page as the contact information, the list, and the legal basis that we looked at before, but now we're looking at his engagement. So we can see that he has been engaging with some content in March here, and we can just scroll down and see the entire customer journey, if you will, the digital footprint that he has left behind in this campaign. So first off, let's see, he signed up for the newsletter by visiting my website. He received the newsletter, he opened it, and he even clicked it onto Porsche. Then we sent the Porsche nurture email, and he's opened that, he's clicked different links and call to actions there. He's visited a form, the book test drive form, and we've also sent him an SMS. So I can see everything that has been going on with this contact, and I can even go into more information and see exactly what this component was all about. In this case, it was the SMS confirmation. It says, "Hi Klaus, we look forward to seeing you at the test drive. Please remember your driving license." So I have full overview about everything the contact has been doing, not only in this campaign, but across all of my campaigns, across my website, from one neat timeline view of this person. So that is really how you can organize the lead management, the lead journey across your different channels, across different components, narrowing your send outs in on the interests and the focus of your leads there. So in essence, as we showed, your website, your forms, your emails, your SMSs, the different components are playing together to drive engagement to your campaigns, you listen to that engagement to deliver the right content, and you get sales engaged when it is a good time to do so. And at all times, you can go back and see the entire digital footprint of your leads in eMarketeer. Now, when you work in sales, your primary focus is the individual leads, what they have been doing, and that type of information. That's also cool for you in marketing to understand. But what you really want to do also is generate some kind of overview of your overall initiative with regards to, in this case, lead nurturing. So let's focus in on the reporting capabilities for your lead nurturing initiatives here. So if you remember the flow that we just had, we had some kind of start in the flow that was a general email. Then we had Porsche and Chevrolet and a follow-up email, the brochure click, and lastly the book test drive at the end of this. So this is the first soft conversion. They're getting started. They're showing us that they're qualified, and then they're booking a test drive at the very end there. And I want to insert here some different measuring points to see how my campaign is doing. So I want to figure out how many marketing qualified leads. So these are the leads that are embarking on this journey. How many of those do I have? How many sales qualified leads do I have for Porsche and Chevrolet? And how many conversions to test drives am I generating? And I can create campaign reports for this specific purpose. So as you can see, you'll remember my campaign. I have the form, the welcome email, and so on. And then at the very top here, I've added campaign reporting for this specific campaign for me to keep tabs on how am I doing. So if we focus in a little bit here, we can see I've added a widget that is MQLs, that's marketing qualified leads. And to me, those are the leads that have signed up to be part of this journey. Those are qualified for me. They're meeting the criteria for me. And I'm telling eMarketeer, please report the number of form submits here, so I have a nice overview of that. Then I have sales qualified leads for Porsche and sales qualified leads for Chevrolet. These are the guys that have clicked either the link to the Porsche brochure or the link to the Chevrolet brochure. These are the sales qualified links for that. And then at the very end here, I have my form, book test drive, is counting here towards my target of 10 test drives is the target for this campaign. I'm currently at 6, so my progress is 60% towards my target. So it's quite easy to set up this campaign reporting, and it just gives a nice dashboard view of the stuff that you are focusing most on in your campaign. The campaign reports are kind of a newish feature to eMarketeer. So if you haven't played around with that, I really encourage you to do so. And if this is all brand new to you, do go ahead and check that out. Let me just quickly nip into eMarketeer and find my Avenir campaign and show you where you set these campaign reports up. So I'm going into my Avenir campaign and into the lead nurture campaign. So this is the campaign we've been working on through. Sorry about that. I don't want to print anything. I don't know why that's popping up. So here we are. You can see I've added 4 widgets to this dashboard, and when I click open, I see the details of the widget, and I can show you how it's created. Let me just go ahead and delete a widget actually to make room for one more. So let's start with setting up a widget here. So I'm going to click Add Campaign Reporting. I have a funnel chart, I have a goal gauge, and I have a KPI counter that are different types of widgets that I can use. Let's set up the KPI counter. They are all set up the same way, so it makes sense if you just know the one. The first thing is you have to choose what to report on. So those are all of the different components that you have in your campaign. So you'll see the sign up form, the welcome email, the nurture emails, and so on. So all of the different bits and pieces I have. And in the first one here, I wanted to say, well, the persons that have signed up for the newsletter, I can choose submitted as that is the action I'm looking for my form. And I click add. And then once it's added, I can modify it just a little bit to make it a good widget for my dashboard. In this case, I called it marketing qualified leads. Update that. There's a preview of my widget, and when I click done, that widget is added to my campaign here. So that's really all there is to it. You'll see an empty event campaign reporting canvas up here when you open up your campaign, and you can just add these widgets to your dashboard. You can add 1, 2, 3, 4 to each campaign. So you can see the KPI counter here, or the goal gauge is set up in exactly the same way. I choose what to report on. In this case, I choose my target, title, a color for the chart, and then just add that to the chart. All right. So I realize that this is a lot to take in. Maybe you've got all of the different components, you've got your automations, and you've got the reporting here and how do all of that play together. So just rest assured that you're not alone. We are here, the eMarketeer consultants and support team can help you out. If you have an eMarketeer partner and reseller, they are black belts in this as well. So just reach out to us or your eMarketeer reseller and have us help you out orchestrating this so you get most out of your tool. If this is brand new to you and you don't know anything about eMarketeer but want to try it out, reach out. We'll be happy to give you a free trial so you can kick the tires, if you will, and see if eMarketeer is something for you to test out and try out. Before we move into the questions, I just want to briefly mention that we have a couple of more webinars coming up. We've got a latest news webinar next week, which is going to be quite interesting. We're going to cover some of the releases we've done, the filter builder, the new email service, the campaign reporting, and we're going to take a sneak peek at the upcoming release of eMarketeer, which has to do with security. And then most importantly, I'm bringing on really one of the eMarketeer experts, one of the black belts. Sebastian is joining me on the webinar, and we're going to do a kind of an Ask Me Anything session with me and Sebastian, so you can throw your questions at us about eMarketeer, about what you can do with the tool, and get some really, really good insights based on his vast experience of many, many, many different customer projects and challenges. So that should be a fun one. And then for our SuperOffice users, we have an eMarketeer and SuperOffice focused webinar that really focuses on how you can be a rock star to your SuperOffice users, to your colleagues in sales and CRM. And the secret sauce here is really how can you make your CRM the center point of information also for the marketing projects that you're doing. So those are some of the webinars that are coming up. Do go ahead and check out eMarketeer.com/webinars, as we have a series of webinars coming up on events management, leads management, the 5 superstar, rockstar tips, and so on. So do check out eMarketeer.com/webinars. We have tons of on-demand webinars there as well. All right, so let's have a look at the questions that have popped in. Now is a good time to get those questions out to me before we close off the Q&A session here. So just make sure to pop your questions into the questions box, and we can have a look. If it's not too technical or too specific, I will have to follow up on email, but do send them my way and we'll see how much time we have available. There are some questions around the different types of automations I can do in eMarketeer. So just let me go back to, there are a couple of different questions around that. So let's just try to do kind of a general one. We're back in the campaign that we looked at before. We have the different components, and at the add automation is where you access the different automations. And just let me bring up the list for you right here. On the left-hand side here are all the automations that you have in eMarketeer out of the box. At the right-hand side, if you've integrated it to a CRM, in this case, SuperOffice, you'll see some CRM automations over here, but let's focus on the eMarketeer bits here that are possible to automate. The first one is send email. So that's the one where we are getting a newsletter subscriber and we want to automate the confirmation email or a series of emails out. That's the send email automation. So basically, when something happens, you can send emails automatically. And do the same thing with text messages. So on the mobile phone, if you have your contact's phone number and their international dialing code, you can send them text messages automatically. You can add and remove contacts from lists in eMarketeer. That's what I did with the different interests that I captured in the beginning, the car reviews, the industry news. I added contacts to the different lists based on their answers. So that's more kind of updating the contact record. I can add and remove a contact from a campaign, so I can completely remove a contact from a campaign or add a contact to a campaign depending on what they do. I can update the contact card, so every field I have on the contact in eMarketeer, interests, titles, names, countries, whatever I have, I can automatically update the contact card with information there. I can update the legal basis, again, GDPR, so based on what they do, I can automatically update, set consent, remove consent on the marketing purpose and on the store and process. I can update subscriptions, so the permission, the consent to send emails to somebody is obviously the first step, but then you can make that more fine-grained by adding subscriptions. So you can update a contact subscription. So instead of getting everything from you, so you may have a newsletter subscription list, you may have campaign events and critical information, and they can opt out of the event invitations if they don't want that and still stay on the newsletter and the critical information subscription category. You can send notifications. Those were the emails or text messages that went out, for instance, to sales. It could also be notifications that goes to your HR team if you use eMarketeer for internal campaigns. It could be notification that goes off to the reception or even to an external partner that doesn't have eMarketeer for them to do something. And then finally, you have the push data to URL. That's where you can push data from eMarketeer into other systems that eMarketeer is not integrated into, and you can use post and get responses to really push data in and out of other systems as well. So there's quite a long list of automations, things you can have happen automatically in your campaign when you're working with eMarketeer. All right, I hope that covered all of the questions around the automations, but do make sure to send them my way if you have further questions around the automations piece. All right. At this point, there are no more questions, but do send them. I can stay on for sure. Just want to make sure that I mention again the webinars page. Check out the on-demand webinars there. Check out our upcoming webinars, and I look forward to seeing you at a future webinar. Reach out to us for help. Reach out to me if you would like a demo of eMarketeer and try it out for yourself. All of that will be available in the follow-up email that we'll be sending out after the webinar with evaluations and the video recording of today's session. All right, so 45 minutes have passed. I hope this was of inspiration and of good use for you guys. And I look forward to seeing you at an upcoming webinar in the near future. Until then, stay safe and good luck with your marketing initiatives and projects. Bye-bye, everybody.